Like, share, subscribe. Shouts out to the Lions Den community. And don't y'all forget to subscribe to the podcast show. Link will be pinned in the top of the chat.
Just name the channel who can bang with us. I'll prove that you are smoking dust. GGD Media is top notch in this game, y'all. You failures only have yourself to blame, y'all. Ticket TV and a weapons make you suckers cry. Why don't you close your channel, crawl into a hole and die? Shout out to those who love our movement, no, we'll never flop until you get your mouth off LVBC. We are the underground outfit, y'all. We built this whole thing by ourselves, look in y'all. Independence start with self-preservation. If you can't take care of self, then how can you build a nation, y'all? Yup, we got that merch for the ladies and yes, we even got that merch for the babies and we got appliances and everything that you will need. We got some banging songs that make anemic haters bleed.
Hey, who said they don't like the intro? It go hard, dog. It go hard, dog. Y'all know the intro go hard. Y'all just be hating on the brother, man. It is what it is. It ain't going nowhere, though. It ain't going nowhere. The intro ain't going nowhere. It whining like a little baby. That junk go hard. She homeboy on the drum, putting in work. Yeah, that's what I thought. You understand what I'm saying? Like, share, subscribe as y'all come on up in here, man. Man. Boy, they putting pressure on Vince McMahon. Now, everybody been quiet about this because everybody been talking about, the PUFF, Puff Daddy. But let me go ahead. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me. Press 2 in the comment section if y'all can hear me, man. Shout out to Sheila. Shout out to Ronald. Love Life. By any means. The Trillist. Chocolate. D.S. Scott. Tommy. J. Bro. Virginia. Adrian. Jasmine. DJ. Evan Ball. Evan Bell, VIP, Popeye, Crystal, Jermaine, Samuel, Chantel, Brenda, Steen, everybody else in the building. Y'all know what it is, man. Parnell, Dorian, Devon. Let me see if y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me in the building, man? Ronald, Hollywood Hearn, Red Savage in the building, Big Meech in the building, Sayla Kingdom in the building, Steven in the building, M. Shan in the building. Can y'all hear me? Okay, y'all can hear me? All right, let's get to it, man. Y'all smash the like button as y'all come on in on this one tonight, bro. Bro, listen, let me tell y'all something, man. Vince McMahon been flying under this radar, bro, and he got to get this smoke, y'all. Now, if you guys don't know who Vince McMahon is, man, Vince McMahon is, if you guys know wrestling, he was the guy who was the chairman, and he was the guy who basically made the wrestling from a global brand, the WWF, then it turned to be the WWE, to a national brand, to a worldwide global brand, I should say. Now, this guy right here is, man, he has so many sick allegations, y'all, against him. And he's currently being investigated by the FBI. Now, Vince McMahon most recently was accused, and I told you guys this the other night, man. He was accused of taking a dump on a girl's head in the act of, he's got some more nastier allegations than the PUFF. His allegations have been absolutely sickening. And this girl, she had, basically put all of these things inside of the lawsuit where she sued this guy. But the feds took over because she claimed and she alleged that they sex trafficked her, right? And so, this is not being ran over and over again on, Law and Crime. It's not being ran over and over again on Nancy Grace. It's not being ran over and over again on many other networks. But I will give Piers Morgan credit because today Piers Morgan and no one right at this situation. They attacked this situation like no other. And I got to give Piers Morgan, those guys, a lot of credit because they put a lot of pressure. And today, this might have been a final nail in the coffin for this dude right here. Now, this guy right here, you guys, he has been through scandals before, man. He has been sued multiple times and has settled multiple lawsuits. This guy was actually on TV doing all kind of crazy things with, he was doing all kind of crazy things with ladies, even on live set TV. And so it was just so bad, the situation and what was going on, man. You know what I'm saying? It was just bad, man. And I'm just telling you guys, you know, I was just telling you guys, you know, it's devastating, man, with the stuff this dude has been alleged of. But like I said, the most recent girl came out and the allegations were so bad from her, man. And she said that they did her so dirty. But she said that this guy actually, you know, allegedly squatted on her, man, and on her head. And I just, like I said, man, I don't respect nothing like that, man. You do something like that to somebody, man, like you should be under the prison like forever in a day. You understand what I'm saying? But I want you guys to hear what happened today because Piers Morgan had some people that came up, some people who actually work with Vince McMahon, and then he actually had a guy who was a reporter. Now, this reporter, he was the only one at that time that, like, when all these different things was happening, and bro, some of the worst things that they said, this reporter alleged that some of the worst things happened under Vince McMahon's watch while he was running this corporation. And, you know, he says that, you know, the P word, the PEDO word, that word. He said that that was going on allegedly under Vince McMahon's watch and nothing happened. And he was trying to report it. And, you know, he got basically demonized. And, you know, Vince McMahon actually went off on him. Now, he also had a situation with the steroids allegations back in the day where they had an investigation from the feds into steroids inside of their company. You know, all these wrestlers getting all big and strong and stuff like that, looking all crazy. And so he actually beat that. So, you know, he beat that case back in the days. You know what I'm saying? But other cases, he settled multiple other cases with multiple other women, which he's paid these settlements to. But this last woman named Janelle Grant, she's the one that got him. And now the feds have been investigating this guy. And the feds basically said that they were going to take 6 months to investigate him. And in December, it's going to pretty much come up to see if they are going to press charges against this dude for, you know, what's going on. And now today came out some breaking news, you guys. Now today, the news that came out today was just absolutely insane because the girl Janelle Grant, what she did was she came out today, you guys, and she basically demanded that they allow all of the other girls who have brought lawsuits against this dude to give up their NDAs so that they can testify and give their statements, you know, and basically corroborate her story. She wants them to be able to give up. But the thing Vince McMahon, I think he forgot, is that even though you gave these women NDAs for whatever situation, if there was criminal activity, the NDA doesn't mean anything. So the NDA does not mean anything if the criminal activity had taken place. That if you go report that as a crime, that it doesn't matter that you have an NDA. You know what I'm saying? And so, like I said before, this situation is coming down on Vince McMahon, but they had Piers Morgan had these guests on here today, and dude, straight up, y'all, let me tell y'all something, man. I'm about to show y'all something, bro. Dude straight up called the other dude a sellout. A white dude called a black dude, Jonathan Coachman, the coach. Y'all might have seen him before on ESPN. He used to work for Vince McMahon at the WWE. And Jonathan Coachman also was working for ESPN for a while. And this guy on the right-hand side of your screen, he's the reporter that's been going after Vince McMahon for years. And the guy on the left-hand side of your screen, that's Jonathan Coachman. They call him the coach. He was working on ESPN for a while. And this white guy on the right-hand side of your screen, he basically said that all of these dudes been protecting Vince McMahon over the years. And he called him a sellout. This white dude called the black dude a sellout on Piers Morgan Live today. And I mean, bro, they erupted. And I want you guys to hear some of what they had to say because they really put out this information. Y'all smash the like button as y'all come on in. Let's get the lights up as y'all come on in. I want y'all to hear what they said today about this situation with Vince McMahon. Let's get into it.
A very high-powered panel for what's a very high-powered saga in many ways. Jonathan, you worked very closely with Vince McMahon for a long period of time. How accurate is this new series that's come out about him?
Well, I think it's fairly accurate, Piers, and thank you very much for having me on the show. It's great to see all the other guys and ladies that I worked with. I think it's accurate, but I think also that when you're talking to people like us who've been inside, I spent a total of 13 years in the WWE, and also my character on camera was Vince's assistant. And I think that, though, the term softball came to mind. I know Vince was very upset that it was a hit piece. I didn't find that at all. I think it was fairly accurate when you talk about the time we spent on the road, the things he made us do. And I think the overriding sentiment, Piers, that came out of that was the fact that none of us, at least not with me, did I ever feel like I could say no. And I only said no one time in my entire 13.
Now, I want to stop that. When they talk about P. Diddy, I want y'all to think about this. When they talk about Diddy, the people say that, oh, nobody seems like they can tell them no when they talk about P. Diddy, right? This guy, Jonathan Coachman, the coach, was working with Vince McMahon every day. He said he felt the same way with Vince McMahon. He said he felt like he could never tell Vince McMahon no, ever. And these are like the same type of different waves that you hear with all these different allegations. These are the same wavelengths that you guys hear. When these people bring up these allegations, they always say the same wavelengths. But here's the problem, y'all. They don't give. And let me tell y'all something. This is why it's important that y'all watch these videos. Because they always say, hey, man, y'all don't give the other guys the same smoke as y'all get the black guys. But y'all ain't watching the videos. Y'all really got to watch these videos to really know what's going on all the way across the board. Because if you check my channels, both of my channels, I've been putting out these videos. One guy came and told me a couple of days ago, he was like, man, you know what I'm saying? It's always something with the black guys. I'm like, bro, listen, bro. Do you watch my channels? Do you watch both of my channels? Do you see how many videos we do on non-black people? But see, the problem is y'all only focus on those and complain when somebody talks about those. But if everybody was doing more material on these other ones, then what's there to argue about? What's there to argue about if everybody's doing more material? Why are we waiting on somebody else to point it out when we can point it out ourselves? And so, like I said, you can check this channel or my other channel. We have a history of giving that smoke, and we're going to keep doing it. But the problem is y'all have to watch those videos, or what happens is they hide those videos in the algorithm so y'all don't know what's really going on. So when they on TV every day playing Diddy, 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 these other things are going on. But they're not promoting and talking about this. You don't hear Nancy Grace and them banging on Vince McMahon and these guys every day with all these allegations they got on their helmet. You don't hear that. These dudes got so many allegations surrounding them, but you don't hear that. The only thing you hear is the Diddies and, you know what I'm saying, the things like that. You know what I mean? Even a situation with Garth Brooks. I mean, they're going to talk about it a little bit, but they're not talking about this Diddy thing has taken over the whole internet. Now, I'm going to cover that trial. But if they do Vince McMahon, if they go ahead and hit Vince McMahon with that RICO, they hit Vince McMahon with that sex trafficking, the feds, I'm going to be covering him extensively because I grew up watching this guy. I saw all of the things that we saw on TV. This man was on national cable TV having grown men kiss his bare you-know-what on TV, and nobody said anything about it. There was no complaints. This man literally was pulling down his pants, y'all. I'm talking about on cable in front of kids. Kids were in these arenas making people kiss his bare you-know-what with no shame and did it multiple times. This dude was having wrestling matches with women with basically damn near no clothes on. He was having bikini mud wrestling matches. He was having strip matches. He was doing all of these type of things. He was having weird, sick storylines where they said that it was allegedly a storyline that he thought about that was going to be him and allegedly his daughter in a storyline. And there was in a relationship. Or it was going to be another storyline where he told a guy, kiss my wife in front of me and all this other stuff and do all these other things and grab her and all these other things. These are all the things that they was doing on TV. We saw this. You had the girl coming down there. Her name was Deborah. She used to be with Steve Mongo McMichael, the football player. Then she started messing with Stone Cold Steve Austin, the wrestler. And they both was wrestling, but she went from one to another. And they was calling her name was Deborah, but they were making her wear these short skirts, revealing tops. And they were telling you, the commentators are saying, look at her puppies. Oh, puppies. They had Jerry the King Lawler and these people saying this stuff while kids were watching in front of the world. They were making girls get in the ring. There was a girl named Stacy Keibler. They made her get in the ring, y'all. And Vince McMahon was sitting down at a table, and this woman opened her legs and sat on a table with a short skirt on and opened her legs and put Vince McMahon's face in the middle of it in front of the world. and nobody said nothing. Nothing. And these videos are still online right now on YouTube, and nobody said nothing. They didn't say a word. Vince McMahon was getting away with all of this stuff, and he was doing it out in the public, kissing all those girls that he was working with, and making it as a storyline. Vince McMahon had a storyline, and y'all smash the like button. We should have well over 1,000 likes by now. He had a storyline where they had a dude. His name was Val Venus, not the P word, but they call him Val Venus. They call him the Big Valboski, and he used to run around he used to come to the ring with a towel around his waist and say, "Hello, ladies. Do you want some of the Big Valboski?" And then he had a situation where this dude, Val Venus, who was supposed to be messing with all these dudes' girls, apparently messed with the wrong one's girls. And they had a Japanese dude with a samurai sword act like they was going to chop off his beefcake on TV. And they did that whole skit. And nobody said nothing. Nothing, bro. Nothing. You understand what I'm saying? These are all the things that was going on, man. They used to call girls the H words, garden tools, no problem whatsoever. No backlash. None of that stuff. Straight like that. Stone Cold Steve Austin used to call Stephanie McMahon the SLUT word. Right there in front of everybody. This was all out there in the public. Everybody saw it. Everybody that grew up saw this. But nobody had a problem with that. Nobody had a problem with that. And that's why people call out the hypocrisy, y'all, because don't nobody really want to talk about that, man. Don't nobody really want to tell the truth about that. We've spent all our time, focus our time talking on other stuff, and we need to be talking about this stuff too. And let's just keep it real, bro. This man he had multiple lawsuits he settled, multiple allegations to the brother who said, "I'm reaching." Stop. I'm not reaching, sir. I'm telling you the truth, sir. I have no reason to see. The one thing about me, sir, I was never capping, sir. I was never capping, sir. And see, listen, I'm going to tell you something. I know that you're upset that we're talking about somebody other than Diddy, but you're going to have to deal with it, sir. You're going to have to deal with it, sir. I don't care what you think, sir. You're going to have to deal with what I'm saying to you, with you, sir. So you can get as mad as you want. It doesn't matter to me, sir. It does not matter because you know one thing about me, I keep receipts, sir. I keep receipts. So again, you could be upset as you want to be. You could be upset as you want to be, but I told you this stuff happened, dog. Matter of fact, I can show you better than I can tell you guys, right? Now, for everybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, and Vince McMahon, as I told y'all, he was doing this stuff, you guys, in front of kids, bro. He was doing this stuff in front of the world, and nobody said anything, bro. And I'm going to show you guys some of these things because nobody said a mumbling word. But now, and I'm telling you, they were getting away with this on national TV, cable TV as a storyline. And this was called the Attitude Era, where you could do whatever you could do. You could call girls anything you wanted to call them all kind of garden tools, call them all kind of SLUT words, whatever you wanted to say, you could call them. Nobody cared. Anything went. And this is the absolute truth. And to the dude who said that I was capping, brother, I was never capping, brother. Vince McMahon was doing this, bro. So you can get mad at me and say whatever you want to say. But the one thing you can do, sir, is you cannot take away what the truth is, sir. You cannot take away what the truth is. And listen, this is the stuff, and y'all smash the like button. This is the stuff that Vince McMahon was doing. I'm not lying to you. This is the stuff he was doing in front of the world. This is what he was doing. So when you think I'm lying, I'm not lying. These are the things he was doing. Stacy Keibler was on there. And remember I told y'all Vince did this in front of everybody? He was doing this and nobody said nothing. Nobody said a mumbling word. And this is what Vince McMahon was doing in front of the world. Straight up. Straight up, y'all. And everybody saw this. Everybody saw it. But nobody cared. Nobody cared. Vince always had scenes where he was putting himself in different scenes and with different women. and doing crazy things. He always was doing this type of stuff, bro, and nobody cared, bro. Nobody cared. And I'm finna show y'all. Since y'all think it's cap, I'm finna show y'all. Vince was doing this stuff, bro. And it was absolute insanity that Vince was able to get away with all of these things, right? All of these things he was getting away with. Now think about this. You're doing all of this on national cable TV, and nobody said nothing. There was no like banning of Vince McMahon. There was no backbiting of Vince McMahon. None of these things. You guys saw this in real time. Y'all saw it in real time. I don't have no reason to sit up here and lie to y'all about nothing. Everybody saw this that watched wrestling, bro. Everybody saw it. If you watch wrestling, you saw it. If you grew up in the Attitude Era, you saw it, bro. And then people was claiming that this stuff carried off of the set onto the actual workplace. So these things you're seeing that was going on with Vince McMahon, this is the type of stuff that was going on. This is the type of stuff that was truly going on with Vince McMahon. And everybody knew it. Everybody knew it that was watching. Ain't nobody said a mumbling word. These are the type of things that Vince McMahon was doing with these chicks on TV. On TV. And these were the people that was working. These were the women, and basically they were saying that if you didn't do this type of stuff, shit. They said if you didn't do it, you might as well have been, that felt like you was gonna get fired. And that's why they said it. The women felt like that they couldn't tell Vince no. Now Vince has denied all these allegations. But as you guys see, these are the type of things that was going on. And I don't think people seen this stuff, bro. Everybody want to talk about Diddy, and that's true. We're going to talk about his clown ass. But what about this? And so when Piers Morgan talked about this day, I said, bro, we got to do this. Because this is the type of stuff Vince had going on. Vince was doing this in front of everybody, bro. And nobody cared. Nobody cared. Nobody cared, bro. And it was just like, man, and he was doing some very, 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 like, revealing things, is all I'm going to say. Vince was doing some very, 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 revealing things is what he was doing. That's what Vince was doing. Matter of fact, Vince would make those scenes so intense is what he would do with those scenes. He would make them so intense with those women. You understand what I'm saying? And these women had to basically, Vince would come to them from what they would say, and the writers they would come and plan whatever they was going to do with the scene, run it by the girl, and basically you got to come do it. You know what I'm saying? You got to come do it. Point blank period. You got to come do it. You know what I mean? You got to come do the scene. If you don't do the scene, I mean, you pretty much is out. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it went. That's just how it went, man. And so, I mean, when you're a guy like Vince and everybody, like, nobody was thinking about this stuff back then, bro. This is crazy, the stuff that they was doing, bro. Absolutely insane, the things that Vince McMahon and them was getting away with. And I'm finna show y'all some more, man. Like, these are just things that I'm telling y'all that y'all, listen, look at this type of stuff that was going on, bro. Look at this type of stuff that was going to the brother who said they didn't have to do anything. That's not what some of the women had claimed. To the brother who said they didn't have to do anything. That's not what some of the women claimed. Why do you think Vince McMahon got sued? Did you not look at some of those lawsuits, sir? I know you didn't look at some of those lawsuits, sir. I know you didn't look at some of those lawsuits. Because for you to say that, and y'all smash the like button, for you to say that, I know you didn't look at some of those lawsuits. I know you did not look at some of those lawsuits for you to say that. Right? This girl right here, like I said before, look what he's got this girl doing. Taking off his shirt backstage. These are all the things that was going on in the public, in front of everybody. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody saw this stuff going on. And so I just told you guys, man, like, and then to me, this right here was the most, like, that was the craziest, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying, dog? That was the craziest right there on that was on the screen. Like, you know, to see Vince do that, man, and just, you know, nobody have no beef with that. And I'm saying that was in front of kids, y'all. That was in front of kids. In front of kids. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, that was just sad. He also made the girl get on her knees and bark like a dog. Vince did that, y'all. He did that. Vince made the girl get on her knees and bark like a dog. He made her do that, bro. He made her do that. And everybody saw him when he did that. Everybody saw him. He made girls strip down in the ring, take their clothes off to their underwear. This all was right there in front of everybody, y'all. And that dude was like, oh, they didn't have to do it. Well, I'm just trying to tell y'all this. I'm not lying to you. Anybody who's watching it, you can see it right there. I'm not lying. That's what Vince was doing. Vince was on that. As far as the storytelling, he was on that. See what I'm saying? And everybody saw it. Anybody that say they didn't see it, they're a liar. They're a liar. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you. Vince had made the girl get on her knees at first and bark like a dog, and then made her get up and take it off. And then she ended up like this. See? And so this is what was going on in public. Screenwriting like that. You know what I'm saying? Screenwriting. You know? And so Vince was doing anything to push the limits and push the lines. He was doing anything. You know what I'm saying? And everybody knew that. Everybody knew it. That was you know, watching at that time. Everybody knew it. And y'all smash the like button as y'all come on in, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just telling y'all what it is, bro. But like I said, that right there, when he did that, that was unbelievable. He did that in front of everybody, in front of the world.
When I look back on it now, that's one of the things I regret the most. But as far as accuracy, I think it was accurate, but I certainly don't think they went far enough.
To the brother who says, did I read the fine print? Excuse me, sir, Nemo Jones. Now, see, this is where I have a problem with a dude like you. You don't have no problem when we cooking Diddy, right? And I'm not saying that some of these women signed up and agreed to some of this. But I'm saying that you had women who was there that filed lawsuits against Vince McMahon. Don't you know that Sable filed a lawsuit against Vince McMahon, class action? Now, she ended up dropping her lawsuit and going back, but she filed a lawsuit and had some pretty serious claims in those lawsuits, sir. Don't you know that it was other women who came out and said that they weren't comfortable doing some of the things that they were asked to do, but they felt like if they said no, they'd be fired and lose their job and be blackballed from the business? Don't you know that, dog? So while you in here capping, bro, like I said before, keep that same energy, brother. So you do your homework. Inhale. Now let's keep going. Like I said before, this dude's a clown. Like I said before, man, these dudes don't even do their homework, bro.
As far as all the things that he made a lot of us do.
Okay, so
all the things he made a lot of us do. That's what Coach said. Listen to what he said, y'all.
What is the real
James,
Vince McMahon like? For those who don't know him, you know, in the documentary, you can see a hardworking, very committed, passionate, very successful business brain at work. You can also see a ruthless, egotistical, depraved monster who'll pretty much screw anyone, including his own family, to get what he wants. So from your perspective, Jonathan, where's the truth?
I think there's a little bit of both. I saw Vince McMahon that I would deal with it when we're shooting skits, when we're shooting a lot of things, that he was a very nice man, and he would do things very quietly to take care of a lot of guys that were getting older that couldn't make a living on their own. And you can't walk into a bank after you've been a WWE superstar and ask for a job. The other part of Vince, though, is he doesn't care. He doesn't care about
Amanda, shut your mouth. You keep talking about some, it ain't that ticket. Be quiet, lady. Talking about something. Why does she go back? Why do ladies go back to men who beat the hell out of them, Amanda? Ask that question. Since you so perfect, Amanda, why do ladies go back to men who beat the fuck out of them? Because a lot of them do. A lot of these women getting their holy hell beat out of them, and they go back to their man. So why don't you ask them that question then, since you all brave and high and mighty? Like I said before, cut the cap. We know how it goes. Some of these women feel like they stuck in certain situations, period. Some of these women ain't as strong as other women, period. You should know that. You're a woman. You should know that some women don't think the same as other women. Some women ain't finna deal with that shit. Some women, if a man put his hands on them, she gonna beat that ass. Some women gonna fold like Cassie did and ball up and don't want that smoke. Some women gonna unload on your ass. So it all depends on who it is. You know that, and I know that. So cut the cap. Coming here capping like that, man.
You, he didn't care about your family. He didn't care about. There was one time, Pierce, that I was home on Christmas Eve, and I got a call to fly back to Connecticut from Kansas because Vince wanted to shoot a skit to be in the show on Monday so that he could spend time with his family. And though you talk about the regrets, that's the Vince that I think I remember the most. Is as long as it was good for him and good for the company, he didn't care about the fact that if we were with our parents or with our kids or with our families. And I think you'll get that sentiment across the board. So I think it's somewhere in the middle. But certainly, as I look back, a guy that I used to respect and I was incredibly loyal for, I would never be that guy today for him. No chance.
Interesting. That man said I would never be loyal for Vince McMahon again. Show you what type of person he is.
Vince, I mean, you were one of the writers, obviously. You helped blur that line between fact and fiction. My sons were very into WWE for a few years, and I took them to a few of the events, and it was incredible entertainment. But I did have to explain to them that, you realize this is not real, but then to a degree it was real, and that people were being thrown around, they were entertaining, it was highly choreographed, they were all well-trained, and everyone was earning good money. What seems to have unraveled since is that behind the sort of family entertainment vibe that it was generating was a lot of stuff that was certainly not conducive with family entertainment. What's your perspective on it?
Well, Piers, I will tell you, one thing really bothered me when I left, and to back up Coach, I was the head writer during the Attitude Era. We were very successful during that time. The reason I left Vince was because I was looking to relocate my family because I was putting in so many hours. My wife was raising my kids by herself. And Vince McMahon looked me in the eye and said, Vince, I don't see what the problem is. You make enough money now, hire a nanny to raise your kids. Those were his exact words. I was on the phone with WCW the next day because I was no longer going to work for a man like that. He showed me his true colors. But when I was writing the Attitude Era, and what the Attitude Era was all about, Piers, was blue collar versus white collar. That's what it was all about. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Vince McMahon. Austin was telling McMahon every single thing a blue collar worker would want to tell his boss. Well, when I left, all of a sudden there was a shift. And that shift was all of a sudden Vince is on camera with all these beautiful women, making out with them, kissing them, groping them. They're groping him.
Groping them. Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what Vince Russo said? He said Vince McMahon was not only kissing a woman, making out with them, but groping them is what he said that Vince McMahon was doing. This is what Vince Russo said, who worked with Vince McMahon. And he wasn't lying. But y'all think somebody just coming on here just saying anything. That's why I played the tape, so y'all can hear that.
Now, Piers, you got to understand something, and everybody here will understand this. As a writer, I could have never written any of our female characters in that position because they couldn't have said no. They would have had to say yes because it was with Vince McMahon, and they would have thought if they didn't do this, they were going to be fired.
There you go right there. You heard what he said? He says, I couldn't have been the person to write the women's script because they would have had to do it with Vince McMahon. And if they had to do it with Vince McMahon and they said no, they'd have been fired. Vince Russo said that. And I told you guys this. Y'all didn't want to listen. So to the dude who was saying, oh, man, bro, listen, man. When these women get into this type of business, bro, the wrestling business is crazy. If you get blackballed in the wrestling business and the WWE, That can hurt your whole career. That's like almost like Kaepernick in football. Kaepernick gets blackballed in the NFL, he's done. So y'all got to think about that. So that's why them women feel pressure when they get up in there, and then they feel like, damn, they making me, I got to go do a scene with Vince McMahon tonight. And if I say no, shit, I'm up out of here. You know what I'm saying? I ain't finna get my check no more. I ain't finna get my pay, whatever. Now, some women, like I said before, shout out to Melanin Queen with the donation. She said he wanted to impregnate his daughter for a storyline. She refused, so he wanted the brother to do it. And again, she refused. That's demonic to even think of. Thank you. But these people in here capping. You got one dude in here, he capping.
Because they couldn't have said no. They would have had to say yes because it was with Vince McMahon, and they would have thought if they didn't do this, they were going to be fired. So when I saw this type of behavior after I left, it never sat well with me. Now, I don't know if that came from Vince or the writers, but like I said, he put all those females in a situation where they could not say no because they may have felt like their job was on the line.
Okay, well, Charlie, you are the female of this panel. What's your view of Vince McMahon? Who is the real Vince?
So from my perspective, I didn't always get such a clear look at who Vince McMahon was. I didn't have to be in the writers' meetings like a lot of people did. I basically would show up to work, be given a script, say, this is what you're doing. And I would generally communicate with other people on the writing staff and my bosses, which mainly included Michael Cole. He was the main one. If I had an issue, I would talk to him rather than directly talking to Vince. But what I will say is that even in my position where I wasn't interacting with Vince on a regular basis, I think like everybody else, I always aspired to get validation from Vince McMahon, because when you did cross paths with him in the back of, the arena or in the hallway, if he would say something to you, it would mean something, even a simple hello, because Vince a lot of times wouldn't even address you. And if he would address you, it means he either found you were doing something correctly or he liked how you were going about things. And especially when you got a good job. That was like, oh my goodness, Vince just told me good job. What did I just do that I need to now replicate each time moving forward? So I would say there was a lot of pressure there. Even though I didn't talk to him a lot, when he did speak to me, it definitely resonated. And I'm not sure that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I definitely think that's what happened with a lot of the people in the company, and especially these people that were put in situations that were maybe more uncomfortable than others. If they were getting this validation from Vince in those situations, they probably put their own self-respect on the back burner, because ultimately that's what you want to hear from the bosses of all bosses at WWE.
I mean, it was a very sort of high testosterone environment, wasn't it? Very macho. In your time there, did you feel that it was all consensual in terms of the way women were treated? Later, of course, it emerged that Vince McMahon had paid off a number of women millions of dollars to settle lawsuits. Did that surprise you, or was he the kind of character where actually that was not that surprising?
What I've always said is if you do not have a thick skin, you do not belong working in the WWE. I do find that to be the case in a lot of areas in television. I think as a woman, you must have thick skin. Were there many instances where I probably could have gone to HR over something small, or even something that probably had a little bit more oomph to it? Yes. Was I the person to do that? No. Now, I'm not saying that I was, mistreated in any sort of way, but there were definitely things that went on at WWE that if an outsider were to get a glimpse on the inside, they would say, what is going on here? How are people working in these specific conditions? But it's just one of those things that you kind of went with. You were working with the WWE. I'm interviewing men who are wearing nothing but like tiny little Speedos on. So it's kind of like the job that you sign up for.
Okay, Marvin, you were sacked by Vince McMahon. He obviously had a ruthless streak, like many successful business people. What's your view of him?
Well, Vince, I echo everyone's sentiment so far. And just like Coachman said, he said no to Vince one time in 13 years. I never knew saying no was an option. When Vince said something, it was pretty much law. I got under his, I got on his bad side one time, and it was right before we were getting ready to go on an extended break. And an extended break for wrestlers might be an additional 2 or 3 days at home. But it was right before one of these breaks. I had an average match. Wasn't a stinker, wasn't a horrible match, but just wasn't great. And as soon as I came through the curtain, he was there. And he was there to let me know just how mad he was at me. And he told me, during your time off, you need to decide if this is the place you want to be. Now, there's that side of Vince, but there's also the side of Vince where after a 3-year battle with cancer, the night my mom passed, I didn't get a call from his secretary. I didn't get a call from his wife. I got a call from Vince telling me exactly how, just how sorry he was for my loss. So it's good and bad with the man.
Well, what do you think the general view, Maven, is of this? I mean, there's when I watched the documentary series, depending who you're listening to, a lot of the bigger stars talk quite fondly of him. And yet we know there's been a slew of scandals around it. We know he's effectively been pushed off the scene for now anyway, no longer has the family ownership that he had, etc. Is it right that he's being depicted as a kind of villain now, or do you think that's been overplayed?
Well, I'll answer your first question, obviously, first. The stars who have a fond view of Vince is a very transactional individual.
Right.
If you're making him money, and a lot of these stars were making him millions, he loves you. And you talked about, me getting let go by Vince. And I agree. When you see Vince backstage, he'll ignore you. If you mean nothing to him or nothing to his show, he'll pass you by and won't give you the time of day. But Vince made his bed. He's unfortunately now lying in it.
So check this out, y'all. This is the part, y'all smash the like button as y'all come on in. This is the part where Piers Morgan bring in this writer. Now, this writer has always been trying to expose Vince McMahon over the years. He's been trying to expose all these secrets about Vince McMahon. And Vince McMahon hated this guy. Now, this guy came in on the show and got into it with this black guy, the coach. And he told the black coach that he's a sellout. Oh my God, bro. I can't believe he called the man a sellout, bro. Hold on. I want y'all to hear this, bro. Because these two guys, they got heated.
Listening to all of that. Phil, welcome.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, you've been called a few things. Called a few things there by your fellow panelists. Phil, do you want to respond?
Well, the first thing I'd ask, Piers, is can any of your panelists name one thing I wrote about McMahon, the WWF, exposing a pedophile ring on McMahon's watch? Somebody who was just said, Russo, I got 2 kids. How about the kids who were sexually abused who didn't have parents? And they were all in McMahon's purview. They were Phil, we just said a lot of what you said. I'm going to stop you right there. A lot of what you said is true. Nobody's saying that.
Can I stop you?
You brought up my kids.
You're a sellout. You're a sellout. You have no moral fiber.
A sellout. See, and Piers, this is what I'm talking about.
He called the black man, the white dude, called the black dude a sellout and told him he ain't got no morals. Hey, picture that, y'all. The white dude called the black dude a sellout and told him he ain't got no morals for protecting Vince McMahon. Bro, this was crazy, bro. I gotta play that again.
McMahon's purview. Phil, we just said a lot of what you said. I'm going to stop you right there. A lot of what you said is true. Nobody's saying that.
Can I stop you?
You brought up my kids.
You're a sellout. You're a sellout. You have no moral fiber.
A sellout. See, and Piers, this is what I'm talking about. I've never met this man. And he said I have no moral fiber. He doesn't know me.
He wanted proof. Coach, he wanted proof. I just tried to prove.
How come?
I called you out. 30 years
Coachman.
ago when you made it up. You made
never
stuff up, Phil. 30 years ago,
keep
bro.
shouting, 'cause you're a fraud.
You're going to sit there and say we have a guy. because maybe you're senile, bro.
Well, no,
maybe
we talked a lot.
Maybe you
We
just got
talked a
out of
lot.
the chair, bro. You reported on stuff that was
Don't
never
call me
said,
bro.
I'll call you whatever. I'll call you a liar then. How about that, bro? I'll call you a liar. You reported on
Knock
stuff
yourself
that was
out.
never said. I
You have
recorded
no credibility.
You went in
You
the New
used
York
to be.
Post.
You used to be a guy.
You was never said. Yeah, what? What, bro? I was what? I used to be what? What did I used to be, bro?
Are you
Tell
going
me,
to let
Phil.
me speak?
Oh, go ahead. Tell me what I used to
You let me speak?
Hey, yo, this old white dude on the right-hand side of your screen. Bro, this dude hilarious. He called Coach himself. Yo, I ain't never heard a white dude call a black dude a sellout for not cooking another white dude. Bro, that's the first Bro, that's the first ever, bro. Bro, the white dude on the right-hand side of your screen called the black dude, Jonathan Coachman, they call him Coach, a sellout because he said that he was holding back on cooking Vince McMahon. That's crazy, bro. Then he started cooking all the panelists, telling them dudes they ain't keeping it 100 with Vince McMahon, man. That is crazy, bro.
Go ahead. What are you to be,
Did
Phil?
you once
I was. Let
write
Phil
a newsletter about pro wrestling? Did you run once? And weren't you very, very anti-McMahon, right? I got the copies of the lie.
Yes, show us the copies right now, Phil. Show us the copies right now.
I have
Anti-McMahon,
my
right, bro. I was
moron.
fair. I was fair. That's why I went to the symposium to hear his side of the story because guys like you were burying him. So there's got to be another side to the story. That's why I went and you didn't go because you didn't want to hear the other side of the story because you had to sell newspapers, bro. You're the fraud. And then you embarrassed me to call myself a journalist. Okay, let me jump in as a good referee. Good referee would.
I just Pierce.
Phil.
I woke up one morning and I was covering mainstream sports and I decided to fabricate all these fantasies about the WWF. I didn't even watch it. I thought I could see where it was going. The steroids and the prurient content. I could see it was getting really ugly and really vicious and just sexually inappropriate for anybody. And I just decided I'll make some stuff up. Or did I get calls from ring boys? Well, Piers, can you give me a second? I'll tell you how my inclusion began. I read in the New York Times 2 paragraphs. Hulk Hogan was going to be dismissed from the Dr. Zahorian drug trial, Vince's the wrestling doctor, because it might be injurious to his public image and career. I'm saying, what kind of... But his career is built on take your vitamins, say your prayers, and suddenly he's exploding on drugs. You can see it. It was obvious, except maybe to Russo, that he was on steroids.
Let me ask you, Phil.
Phil. And then the letters came. They had never read anything like that in the mainstream media, and they all read, "You don't know the half of it." So I didn't decide to throw away my
No, Phil. If you want my opinion, I think you're an excellent reporter who's been doing excellent reporting. I guess the question is, as the panelists said before they knew you were coming on, whether you had a vendetta against Vince McMahon. He called you once on Monday Night Raw a self-righteous, egotistical, miserable son of a bitch. So there clearly was no love lost on his part either. But what is your genuine view?
You don't think I don't know that's a work?
Of course. Well, my question was...
But that's a work.
Of course, but my question for you is...
This is what he does.
No, of course. It's the kind of Trump-style trash talk. But in terms of your perception of Vince McMahon, it's quite hard to work out from the documentary and from everything I've read and gleaned where the villain begins and ends and where the showman who sort of blurs the line between fact and fiction begins and ends. How bad a person, in your opinion, is Vince McMahon?
My empirical knowledge, my knowledge based on research, based on interviews with really good people. I've met some wonderful people. Bruno Sammartino was one of the most noble people I've met because he told the truth. But based on what I know of Vince McMahon, he's the closest thing to the fictional character Hannibal Lecter I've ever met.
Wow, a serial killer.
He's that sick.
Really?
I think he's a sociopath. Yes, absolutely. What do you do when you make jokes on the air, as the future governor of Minnesota did, Jesse Ventura, about all the pedophiles that were being indulged, transported, and all the kids that would show up from city to city? They had no parental restraints. They were coming from foster homes. They were easy pickings. They were easy prey. And it happened on McMahon's watch. And it happened on everyone's watch. And you, Vince Russo, who used to be anti-McMahon, then you started kissing his ass because you got paid. And you're like everybody else.
I'm not going to sit there and lie without me talking over you.
Hey, yo, this dude want all the smoke. This dude said then you started kissing his ass because you wanted to get paid. This dude on the right-hand side of your screen called a black man a sellout. He told the white man, you an ass kisser. he told the other white dude you a moron. Hey, yo, he wanted to cook Vince McMahon so bad. Oh, man. Hey, man. Vince called this dude the son of a bitch. Oh, man, dog. We showed it. Hey, yo, man, this dude right here. Oh, man, bro. I ain't never heard a white dude call a black dude a sellout for not cooking another white dude, bro. That's the first ever, bro. Ever.
I was never pro McMahon ever. I reported the truth and the facts. You did not go to the Steroid Symposium because you didn't want to hear his side of it. Did you go, Phil?
Did you ever?
Did you go? What, you had a lunch date, bro?
Here,
Why did you go, Phil?
Who's Dr. Mauro Di Pasquale? Who's Dr. Mauro Di Pasquale?
That was the person he had present at the Steroid Symposium. Yeah, go ahead, Phil.
And what was his specialty? What was his specialty?
I guess he was a con man, Phil. I guess he was an actor. He was an actor. Phil.
He was from Canada. His specialty was how to teach athletes to beat steroid tests.
So then why didn't you go to the symposium and say that? Why didn't you go to the symposium and say that?
Way ahead of you.
Okay, let me bring in. Okay, hang on, please. Hang on. Let me bring in Maven, who wants to say something, I think.
That was a good run-in, Piers. And in fact, I did know Mr. Mushnick was going to be on here. The only question I would have for him, and I'm not going to impugn, his life work. The only question I would have for him is, have you ever met Vince? Have you ever sat down with him? Have you ever traveled with him on the road?
We've spoken on the phone.
I'll never say everything Vince has done has landed, and I'll never say he didn't have bad ideas. He certainly did. And some of the things he did was just plain out evil. But to say he's sadistic, I mean,
why was any of it though? Why was any of it plain out evil? Why was it plain? If he was plain out evil on occasion, why are you telling me that? Oh, I got him all wrong.
Because here's what I do know.
Phil, everything you talk about, Maven, and I'll jump in real quick. Everything you're talking about, Phil, happened before four of us were there and 30 years ago. And that what we're trying to give an equal, and we're admitting, all of us are admitting that everything he did was not good. But you haven't brought up one thing that happened after 1999. After 1999.
Well, okay, but here's an interesting point.
I wasn't covering.
Let me ask you, Phil. Phil, you were one of the first.
Coachman.
Well, Phil, let me just jump in a moment, Phil. Phil was one of the first journalists to expose the widespread use of steroids in WWE. Right. Vince McMahon was acquitted in 1994 for distributing steroids and won a conspiracy to distribute steroids. He addressed Phil Mushnick directly afterwards. We've got that clip.
I was constantly amazed at the utter lack of ethics of some of the good guys involved in my case, all of whom had demonstrable ties to Mr. Phil Mushnick. I watched the good guys lie to the media, lie to the judge, lie to the jury. I watched the good guys get caught because they tried to pressure my alleged co-conspirator into changing his prior sworn testimony. I watched as the good guys were forced to admit that they had destroyed evidence. And I saw the ultimate impact of the truth when the jury acquitted me and the World Wrestling Federation without us even having to put on a defense or call even one witness.
Phil, there was obviously no doubt that a lot of them were on steroids, right? So were you surprised when McMahon was acquitted? Why do you think that happened? And do you give him any credit for what he did afterwards in cleaning it up?
I firmly, Piers, I believe that he was prosecuted in the wrong jurisdiction. Had he been prosecuted in Stamford, Connecticut, where all the drugs from Dr. Zahorian were delivered to McMahon, who admitted to using steroids, but he said he did them legally. Now, if he did them legally, go down to the corner pharmacist and get your steroids. Don't get it from a guy who's doing 4 years in prison, in a federal prison.
That's exactly what I did. Mr. Mushnick, that's exactly what I did. I have openly on my channel admitted steroid use during my time in the WWE. And no one from the WWE made me do it. I did it all on my own. And I did exactly what you said. I got a doctor's note. I got blood work done. And I did it as safely as I possibly could, knowing full well what the ramifications later in life might be.
Under what premise? What was your premise? What was the premise for getting
under the premise that I wanted to, under the premise that I was in the big boys, the league with the big boys, and I needed to look the part. It was completely 100% my decision.
And there was a presumption.
Vince or no one told me to.
I know, but there was was there not the presumption within the industry that if you wanted to get anywhere, you had to be roided out? That the old expression was, "Let me die big."
The presumption. I could name.
So why did you take them? If you didn't need the steroids, if you didn't need the steroids, why did you? Why did you take the steroids? If it wasn't a requisite.
Vanity.
Yeah.
Vanity. Because I wanted to look. I wanted
your knowledge of what goes on in that industry. It wasn't just
because I wanted to.
Let me bring in Jonathan. Let me bring in Jonathan.
I can honestly say on my kids,
let Jonathan speak.
Industrial surgery.
Jonathan.
Phil, you got to move past 1995, Phil. And we can have an honest conversation. I started in 1999. Phil, please.
Who is it?
It's Jonathan. Let Jonathan.
Not one conversation. And of this panel, other than Vince, I was physically next to Vince more than anybody during that time from 1999 through 2008, through my character work on the show, and also because I hosted a lot of press conferences. We were on his jet together. We were flying all over the place. And not one time, Phil, not once have I ever heard a conversation about steroid use or you need to use steroids. And I'm not saying that guys didn't. They've openly, like Maven just said, but it's not something we said around.
I mean, you're not blind. You're not blind.
Yeah, because I was
but
there.
Not blind.
But Phil, I'm telling you, it's not talked about. And you just said, is it well known that you've got to do it? No, it was not. And that's what I'm trying to tell you, is if you looked at it fairly, instead of always looking at the negative, you would understand that guys had their own brains. And if they chose to use it, that's what they did. Nobody ever made us. No, after 1999.
How many of McMahon's wrestlers?
Phil?
Oh my God, Phil, you're talking 1992.
How many of McMahon's wrestlers didn't make it to 50 years old? How many died of drug overdoses?
Too many.
Yeah, too many.
What do you mean, oh my God? This
Way
is
too many.
irrelevant?
Pierce,
Okay.
Pierce,
Oh,
you
well,
talking about in every
I
sport.
didn't indulge. I didn't indulge too
God,
many.
Phil.
I didn't suffer
Pierce,
too many. You
sat
did.
next
Oh
to,
my God.
I sat next
How
to
come?
Vince
How
McMahon
come
in a
those
room.
people
I
who
sat next
work
to
for
Vince McMahon in a room writing TV one-on-one with
Get his autograph?
the man. Hundreds of days I spent. Never once did Vince McMahon say, oh, we're not going to push so-and-so because of his body and he's not on steroids. This guy's delusional. This is what I said at the beginning of the show. Everything out of his mouth is negative about Vince. I spent hundreds of hours with the man. Never one time did he say,
Never once.
so-and-so isn't going to get a push because, bro, he's not.
Let me just hang on.
Man, these people don't went crazy, y'all. So Vince McMahon, man, bro, the walls is closing in, bro. Because now they talking about him on Piers Morgan. Now they really putting the vice grip on Vince McMahon. That girl have demanded that the other people be allowed to let go of their NDAs so that they can tell their stories. And the feds make an investigate and pick that up. Man, listen, bro. Vince McMahon better hope and pray. He better hope and pray. Because I'm going to tell y'all something, man. You know, it's not looking good right now. Because more and more people are starting to talk about this, bro. It's not looking good right now. But you guys let me know what y'all think. Y'all hit the like button. Let's get a couple thousand likes in the chat room, man. Salute to everybody that supported to the channel. If y'all want to donate, y'all can. The link pinned at the top of the comment section. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Salute to everybody tapped in tonight watching this stream. Like, share, subscribe, man. Man, I'm gone, man.